The sun was already burning the hell out of my back, and I was finally comfortable half asleep, with my bikini top undone, so I wouldn't get those annoying tan lines. When I heard the voice. Sharp. Judgmental. Like someone had just found a cockroach in their salad. I turned my head, squinting through the sunlight, and there she was. Some woman, looking at me like I was naked on a damn church altar. Her kids were splashing around oblivious, while she sat down right next to me. Out of all the empty chairs at this huge-ass pool. Then she said it. Loud. Righteous. Like she was waiting her whole life for this moment. How dare you untie your top in front of my children? I blinked. Sat up slightly. Felt the straps of my bikini top slip, but didn't give a damn. Lady, you could have sat anywhere else. Her face scrunched up like I'd just kicked her dog. You're disgusting. And there it was. That thick, suffocating sense of entitlement dripping from her words. Like she owned the damn pool. Like she owned me. I looked around. Empty chairs everywhere. Seriously everywhere. Yet she'd chosen this spot. Right next to me. Just so she could have this little scene. Just so she could play moral police in front of her kids. I sighed, rubbing my temples. Look, I'm on my stomach. No one's seeing anything. Her eyes narrowed like she caught me lying. Your back is naked. I deadpanned. Yeah, backs usually are. She gasped, clutching her invisible pearls. Meanwhile, her kids, probably 5 and 7, were still flailing around in the water, too busy trying not to drown to give a damn about my back. At this point, I was debating whether I should bother arguing with her, or just go back to tanning. But something about her pissy expression made me want to poke the bear. If it bothers you that much, maybe just don't look? Her jaw clenched. You're setting a bad example. For who? Your kids. Lady, they don't even know I exist. That did it. She huffed, standing up dramatically, like she was about to deliver the Oscar-worthy mom's speech of the year. You young women have no shame. I actually laughed. For tanning? At a pool. She stormed off, muttering something about respect and modesty, and I thought that was the end of it. But nope. Not 5 minutes later, she came back, with the pool manager. Fantastic. Now let me just say, I'm not a troublemaker. I pay my rent on time. I smile at my neighbors. Hell, I even helped the old guy in 3B carry his groceries. But this was some next-level Karen behavior. The pool manager, a guy in his 50s with a sunburned nose, and the energy of someone who did not get paid enough for this shit, cleared his throat. Ma'am, we have a complaint. I propped myself up on my elbows, blinking at him. For existing? He sighed. For, inappropriate attire. I stared at him. Then at the Karen. Then back at him. My top is on. Well, she says it was untied. It's literally still on. I gestured at my perfectly in-place bikini top. I was lying on my stomach. Nothing was showing. The guy looked uncomfortable, like he really didn't want to be dealing with this. We just ask that all residents be mindful of other guests. Oh, you mean like not sitting right next to someone just to pick a fight? The Karen's face turned beet red. You are being incredibly disrespectful. Lady, you walked your ass over here and started something. I was minding my business. At this point, people were starting to watch. A couple across the pool, some teenagers a few chairs down. Even the lifeguard was peeking over, his sunglasses pushed up so he could get a better view of the drama. The pool manager, probably regretting all his life choices, pinched the bridge of his nose. Look, let's all just calm down. I exhaled slowly, considering my options. I could keep arguing, or I could just get back to my tanning and let this ridiculousness die out. But something about the smug look on Karen's face made me dig my heels in. You know what? Fine. If you want to be a prude, be a prude. But don't come policing my body just because you have some weird issues with skin. Her mouth opened and closed like a goldfish. Excuse me? You heard me. I grabbed my towel, standing up. Next time, pick another chair and keep your insecurities to yourself. The tension was thick enough to choke on. Karen looked like she was about to combust. The pool manager looked like he wanted to jump into the water and disappear. And me. I was done. I threw my towel over my shoulder and walked off, ignoring the stares, the whispers, the silent victory in knowing I hadn't backed down. I thought that was the end of it. But nah. Turns out, some people just can't let shit go. The next day, I got a notice from management. Inappropriate behavior at the pool. A formal warning. Just vague enough to piss me off. Just specific enough to let me know exactly who complained. Karen wasn't just a random busybody. She was a professional. A career hall monitor. The kind of person who lived for these little moments of moral superiority. And me. I was about to make her life hell. If there's one thing I hate more than entitled assholes, it's entitled assholes who think they've won. Karen probably went to bed that night feeling victorious. All smug under her pristine white comforter, in her picture-perfect, HOA-approved apartment. She thought she'd put me in my place. She thought I'd back down. That was her first mistake. Because the second I saw that notice from management, I knew this wasn't over. Hell no. If she wanted a fight, I was going to give her a goddamn war. First things first, I needed to find out exactly what kind of power she thought she had. I marched straight to the leasing office, slapped the warning letter on the desk, and leaned in. Yeah, hi. I'd love to know why I'm getting a disciplinary notice for lying in a bikini at a pool. The guy behind the desk, some mid-30s dude with a gut that said he used to play football in high school and hadn't hit a treadmill since, looked up with all the enthusiasm of a man who hated his job. It was a complaint from another resident. No shit, I said, tapping the paper. Who? And what exactly did they say? He sighed, rubbing his temples like I was the one giving him a migraine. We don't disclose resident complaints. But you do hand out bullshit warnings based on them? His lips pressed into a thin line. Look, I don't make the rules. But if another complaint comes in, it could lead to a lease violation. Oh, this bitch really wanted me gone. I pushed off the counter, nodding slowly. Got it. So all I have to do is exist, and she can just keep reporting me until I'm evicted? That about right. He didn't answer. Didn't have to. The writing was on the wall. Karen had declared war. And I wasn't about to fight fair. Now I could have just ignored her. I could have avoided the pool, kept my head down, and hoped she'd get bored. But that's not how I work. No, I needed her to know that I wasn't going anywhere. And if she thought I was a problem before, oh honey, I was about to be her personal fucking nightmare. The next morning, I was at the pool before the sun even finished rising. Bikini, skimpier, lounge chair, the one closest to hers, volume, all the way up. I had a playlist prepared. Nothing crazy, nothing that could actually get me in trouble, but enough to annoy the hell out of her. Early 2000s pop? Check. Bass-heavy reggaeton? Absolutely. The entire High School Musical soundtrack? Oh, you bet your ass. I laid back, sunglasses on, pretending I didn't see her arrive. She paused in the entrance, her whole body going rigid like she'd just walked into a crime scene. Her eyes darted to me, then to the speaker, then back to me. I could practically see the gears turning in her head, debating whether she wanted to fight me or just drop dead on the spot. She chose violence. You need to turn that down, she snapped, marching up to me like she owned the place. I stretched, barely cracking open an eye. Huh. The music. It's inappropriate. I blinked at her. You got something against Zac Efron? Her nostrils flared. My children can hear this. Good, I said. They deserve culture. Her lips thinned into a white line. This is harassment. I sat up, resting my arms on my knees. Lady, you followed me out here. Again. If anything, I should be the one complaining about you. Her face twitched. She wanted to say something, I could tell. But she just let out a sharp breath and spun on her heel, storming off toward the leasing office. Round 2, baby. And I wasn't even warmed up yet. By the time she got back, some poor leasing agent trailing behind her, I was already floating in the pool, sipping on a neon pink drink with an obnoxiously large straw. Ma'am, the agent started, looking like she wanted to be anywhere but here. We've received another complaint about your behavior. I slurped my drink loudly. Let me guess. From her. The agent hesitated. Cool. Let me file a complaint too then. I climbed out of the water, dripping wet, and grabbed a towel. Because I feel like I'm being harassed by my neighbor. She follows me. She reports me for existing, and honestly, it's starting to feel a little obsessive. Karen's mouth opened, a a strangled noise escaping. That's not. You sure? I cut in. Because it's real weird how out of all the open pool chairs, you always gotta sit right next to me. Real weird how the second you see me, you run off to management. Kinda makes me feel unsafe, you know? The leasing agent looked between us, clearly rethinking all her life choices. We'll look into it. Damn right they would. Karen stomped away fuming. And me? I settled right back into my chair, pulling my sunglasses down as a slow, satisfied smirk spread across my face. She wanted to play games? Bitch, I was the final boss. Let me tell you something about people like Karen. They don't actually want to win. They don't even care about rules or right and wrong. What they need, is control. They get off on the idea that the world bends to their will, that people back down when they raise their voice, that their scowls and complaints hold weight, just because they believe they should. So when you don't back down, when you don't flinch, when you don't apologize, that's when they fucking break. And I was about to watch Karen shatter. See, after my little stunt at the pool, I could tell she was losing her grip. She started slipping, acting erratic. I caught her watching me from behind her blinds. Spotted her outside, phone in hand, whispering to someone the second I walked past. She was grasping for straws, looking for any reason, any excuse, to get rid of me. I needed to push her over the edge. So I escalated. It started with the parking lot. I made sure to leave my car in the spot directly next to hers, every single time. Sometimes just for fun, I'd pull in real close. Close enough that she had to shimmy her way into the driver's seat, huffing and puffing the whole time. Then the gym. She worked out in the mornings, some yoga or Pilates shit. So I made sure to be there first, hogging the good mats, setting my water bottle right where she liked to stretch. But my masterpiece, my magnum opus, the laundry room. I waited until I saw her carrying her basket down the hall, then followed a few minutes after. Took all the available machines, even the broken one that barely worked. Then when she walked in, arms full of clothes, I gave her the sweetest fucking smile. Oh hey, what a coincidence. She clenched her jaw so hard I thought her teeth might shatter. She didn't say a word, just turned on her heel and marched out. A couple of hours later, I got another notice from management. Something about disruptive behavior, and concerns raised by another resident. I laughed. Actually laughed right there in my kitchen. This was it. This was her breaking point. Because the next day, Karen went nuclear. I was at the pool again, stretched out under the sun, when I heard her shrill, angry voice. Only this time, she wasn't talking to me. She was talking to the property manager, the big boss. This is harassment, she was practically screeching. I have reported her over and over. And you refuse to do anything. What kind of place are you running here? I propped myself up on my elbows, biting back a grin. Oh, this was rich. The property manager, some tired-looking woman in a pantsuit, held up a hand. Ma'am, we've reviewed your complaints. Nothing she's done violates the terms of her lease. Karen gasped, like she'd just been slapped. Excuse me. The manager sighed. She has a right to use the amenities. She has a right to park in available spots. She has a right to. She is targeting me. Karen shrieked. I don't feel safe. She is stalking me. This is harassment. And there it was. The moment she overplayed her hand. Because the second that bullshit claim left her lips, the property manager's face changed. Like she'd been expecting some kind of petty complaint, but not this. Not a full-blown accusation. Ma'am, she said slowly. Are you suggesting you need to involve the authorities? Karen's mouth opened, closed. The gears in her head were turning, working overtime. She wanted to say yes. I could see it. But that would mean taking this beyond HOA complaints and nasty little letters. That would mean making a real case. Providing real evidence. And she had none. I almost felt bad for her. Almost. Finally she deflated. I just want her gone. The property manager gave her a long, unimpressed look. That's not how this works. And just like that, it was over. Karen stormed off, face blotchy, hands clenched into fists. The property manager sighed, rubbed her temples, and walked off in the opposite direction. I laid back down, stretched out, and smiled up at the sun. Checkmate, bitch. The air felt different after that last showdown. Something in the atmosphere had shifted. The second Karen lost her final card, the world around us seemed to take a breath, like the whole complex had been waiting for her downfall. I didn't know it yet, but I'd won more than just the battle. I'd buried the war. Still, I expected her to try something. Maybe some last-ditch effort to save face, some pathetic move to claw back the control she lost. But Karen did nothing. No more complaints. No more whispers. She just disappeared. At first, it was like a void. No shrill voice whining to management. No beady eyes peering from behind blinds. The pool was mine again. The laundry room quiet. The parking lot free of passive-aggressive tension. It should have felt like peace. It should have felt like victory. But something gnawed at the back of my mind. Karen wasn't the type to let things go. And I was right. 3 weeks after our last encounter, a moving truck rolled up in front of her apartment. I was halfway through a morning coffee on my balcony when I saw it. The sight of those uniformed movers, her stupid decorative flower pots stacked by the curb, it was almost surreal. Like watching a villain cut from a script before the final act. Karen was leaving. By noon, most of her furniture was packed away, and I caught a glimpse of her standing in her doorway. For the first time she looked small. Not the self-righteous, loudmouthed dictator of the apartment complex. Just a woman. A woman who had spent too much energy fighting a battle she never had a chance of winning. And the best part? I never had to lift a damn finger to make her go. She dug her own grave. I thought about saying something. A final goodbye. A last little jab to twist the knife. But as I watched her hover by the moving truck, staring at the place she'd spent years trying to control, I realized she already knew. I had won. And she knew it. So I did what I do best. I laid back in my chair, sipped my coffee, and let her fade into nothing.